Okay, so hi, this is the after show. Normally what we would do is we would exit out and come back in because of time restrictions on on-air hangouts. But I believe now that we have over 2 hours to be in an on-air hangout. So I'm just going to end, well, I'm just going to keep it going for now so that people can watch us, but it won't be recorded. It won't be posted. It won't be on the posting for the web. So don't start swearing right now because it's still being broadcast. And we have the chat still with us as well, so if there's anybody in the chat has any questions, we're still monitoring that.
Andrea, did you want to show that other project you had?
Well, the other project, I can just go through it pretty quickly. It's just my blog. I think, Jen, you knew about it. It was the 40 Plus blog. So I have I have about 20 images I can show from that and talk about it.
Sure.
If you want. Or we can talk about something else. No, keep going.
No, I'd love to know more about you.
I just encourage everyone to ask a few more questions as she goes through so that we can.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I'll bring this up. Okay. So basically, I just, can everyone hear me? I started a blog. This was about a year and a half ago, and it was called 40 Plus because I'm 40 plus. And it was actually, I did it in response to a friend of mine who did a blog called 39 Plus, Mia Semmingson, and she did a blog for a year where she did an image a day. And a lot of these kinds of things are being done now where people post an image a day. But what I liked about doing it was that, you know, I have a son who's only 6, and so my time to be away is not as much as it used to be for being able to go and work on a project. And so this allowed me to really commit to a practice of photography every day. And I'll just go through it, and these are some of the images from the blog. Can everyone hear me?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Basically, I started it. My mom has Alzheimer's, and it's been a really difficult journey. And so I started this blog when I had to go home to clean out my mom's house because I had to move her into assisted living. And so this is one of the first images, which was a picture of my mom on her bureau. And then this is my son, and so really these images are like really kind of the everyday shots where I was documenting my life and what was going on in it. And this is a picture of my son. I had to do an estate sale, and there's a portrait of my mom behind him. This is a letter from my mom from her assisted living saying that she loved me and God bless me. This is an image of the last day that I was in my home. I had to sell the house, and it was actually made by my great-grandfather built the house, and then my grandfather grew up there, my mom grew up there, and I grew up there. So it was just a really difficult thing to let go of, and so I did a self-portrait in the living room the last time I was in the house, and so I documented it and put it on the blog. And when I got back home, I was thinking a lot about home and what family is and what is home. And so I made this image of my son looking out the window at me out of our home. And then when I cleaned out the house, I brought images back to my mom, and this is an image of her brother, her sister, and her, and I photographed her with it. And then a lot of the images are just these sort of domestic images of my son, my dog, kind of just whatever's going on. My son playing, you know, in his fort. Pillow forts, or you know, my dog and my son, and we were out for a walk. Those sort of funny images. So you know, my dog. So a lot of my dog. But it was a really great experience because I was able to really just commit to making these images every single day and shooting every day. And I say this to students. This is my son through my shoelace. And so I say this to students when I teach is that, you know, when they take a beginning class, it's like, how do you commit to continuing to use the camera and photography in your daily life? because often we put it down and we go back to our lives, and then we're not shooting and we're not creating images. This is on a walk. This is a bird flying. This is my son. You know, breakfast. We have to feed everybody. Everybody gets a little food. So, yeah. And I just carried it. I carried a camera with me all the time. It's a little point and shoot. This is an artist who came through the ranch. His name is Jonathan Harris, and I photographed my son with him. So this is a snowstorm. My son walking home. My son actually on timeout, but I thought it was a great shot and great light, so I made an image. This is Maroon Bells, which is like the most photographed place in America, and I thought I'm going to make my own image of Maroon Bells. So I photographed my dog and his nose.
Is that Coot?
So, yeah, it was my dog Coot. Coot died in October. And I actually stopped the blog the day my dog died. But, again, it's just, I'm actually making a book out of these images now because this is a friend of mine, Ann Jans, a former professor, Alex Sweetman. But, again, the light was just amazing, so I made a portrait. So, anyway, to the dentist office. So, whatever was going on, I photographed for the day. This is a self-portrait. Son, a lot of images of my son. My mom coming up the stairs, and my lens was sort of fogged up, but I actually think it really worked because I wanted to sort of speak to this idea of her fading away with this Alzheimer's disease. My son and his buddy. That's the camera, little Canon I was using. Breakfast. So I'm almost done. My son in the studio.
Oh, stunning.
My son asking for a pony. I can go back to that. I didn't. That was just available light. That's just, I turned around and I saw the shot. So, and I just, exposed for the light that was on his face.
Wow.
I have a question for you because it's very apparent from the images that you're showing that you have a really clear understanding of how your camera sees light. Obviously, our eyes, when we're looking at these, we see how your camera has seen because you've taken the picture. But when you're looking at these scenes, you see the way our eyes see. So, did you notice the change as you moved into photography when you started to see more like your camera and less like you?
Yeah, and I think it took me years and years and years to. No, really, I don't think I got it. And there is a photographer coming in. I think Jan said Roddy McInnes in a couple of weeks, and I would say he had a huge influence on me in the way he reads light and looks at light. And I learned so much from him, and in the way to, like, exactly what you're saying, learning to see how your camera will read it versus how you see it. I mean, and it took me years.
A lot of the images you've been showing, somebody might not even think of taking because they are not seeing the impact it's going to have when it's recorded on their either film or on their sensors.
I can attest to what you said. Right. I also know what you're talking about, and I've changed the way I photograph because of Roddy saying what he says about light, that it is all about light.
Yes, and the way Jen and I went to graduate school with Roddy, and he used to shoot slide film with this little point and shoot, and they were just the most beautiful images, and it was because he read the light, and so I think that's a great comment because I think it takes a long time, but I think if you can wrap your mind around this, that's when the images really start to come together. This is an image in Paris. It's the taxi driver. I'm in the back seat, and my son in the reflection.
Amazing.
And then this is the Eiffel Tower, and so we were at the Eiffel Tower, and I didn't want to make another image although Jan, I saw yours, and it was a great image, the two of you.
I didn't take it. That was a stranger who walked by.
Oh no, I thought it was a great shot. But I'm just saying that, like, I wanted to do something different, and I noticed it was raining, and there were these puddles, and so I saw my son's reflection in the puddle with the tower, and I made that image instead of shooting up.
And that's just evidence that there are new and creative photographs in something that's been photographed a million times.
That's a great point.
Right.
And artist, I think, more of an artist to see that and not want to do the same thing, but really want to find something different in the same thing.
Right. I love the and then this is like, I'm walking in Paris, and this woman was walking her cat on a leash, but it was like on the edge of the bridge, and I thought, this is really weird. And so I oops, I don't know what just happened here. So anyway, I'll just go through these fast. So these are the last few images.
Now we're looking at your time machine thing.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. It popped out of the presentation.
Okay, hold on. Sorry about that.
Okay.
These are great while you're doing that. You know, these remind me of the kind of images that you see more on Google+. I think that it was really cool when people were doing the oh my God.
Yeah.
It was cool when people were doing the blog.
Right?
I'll finish that later. Go ahead and show some.
Okay. Well, anyway, these are the last few images that I made. And then this is, you know, kind of a self-portrait. You can see my feet with my son. And he's being lit by the, you know, the blue screen on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of them were just fun, sort of playful images. This is our fish who died. It was a different kind of work than the work I normally do with these really formal kind of portraits in the 4x5. It was just, it was a really fun project to do. This is in the shower. My son's what's left of his food. So, and then
wow.
And this is the actual address for that blog.
Oh, okay, good.
And then I'll just jump out of there.
So these are terrific. And as I was looking at them, Andrea, I was thinking about how these are the kinds of photos these are the kind of photos that you see a lot on G+. Maybe not as good as yours, but the people are looking at the same sorts of things in their own life and using photography for something else, you know, other than gallery shows, and that it's really fulfilling in a way, you know, documenting their lives. And I wish I could encourage you and other people who are, you know, kind of high up in the photography world to do it here too. Like, I think that would add to the community so much.
Yeah, it would.
And I think people are kind of afraid, oh my God, I'm giving away my livelihood if I put them on, you know, G+ or Facebook or something. But I don't think that's true. Mm-hmm. You know, if you make them small enough, and it just adds to the conversation. And I think more people will see them. Like, nobody knows to go to your blog except for a handful, but so many people could see them here.
I'd be happy to do that now that I'm becoming more familiar with Plus.
Yeah. We're going to have you fully converted in a week, I promise.
I think you will.
Yeah, don't forget the way that you can add Isabelle and Mel to your circles is just to click on their name below their pictures, and then you can just go and add them to your following list. And then you'll get to see what they're up to as well. And these two are also very, very, very active and huge community builders as well. They really participate in the Google Plus community and really help encourage that interaction. The big difference that we find here on Google Plus, and anybody that's in the chat will be able to attest to this, is that it's about the conversation. On Facebook, you click like and you might say awesome or good, or you might make a comment, but on Google Plus, as you grow here, it's more about the conversation. And it's a little bit about why I asked about the words, too, about it gives us a place to talk more about what we're doing. Because as photographers and artists, often there is no dialogue scene. If we just see the photo, or we see the painting, or we see the sculpture, this is a place where dialogue happens, and it's just fantastic.
So I have a question about taking those photos. Like, you were showing I don't know what it was, a point and shoot of some sort, or a small camera. Do you feel more freedom when you use that camera?
You know, I think I did. I think I did only because, I mean, it was just easier to carry with me and less cumbersome. And but also it's a great little camera, and I can still make it do what I want it to do in terms of manual exposure and really getting it to like, as Ron was saying, like read the light the way that I think it should.
Yeah, I'm sure some people want to know what camera
it's really more freedom than my 4x5. I mean,
Yeah. And what camera is it? What's the model of that?
It's the little Canon G12.
Oh, they're great little cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah. I needed to ask you, too, I noticed that with your photography, it's primarily natural light photography. When you're shooting in point and shoot, does ISO matter to you, or does the image matter most?
ISO matters, but I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make the image happen.
Yeah.
But I always try to shoot with a low ISO. And I usually shoot wide open for an aperture. And there's a couple images in there where you could see it was a little bit noisy because I didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually try to stay pretty low, like 100.
Yeah. I know artistically I'm getting over that needing to be low and being willing to let it really climb in ISO to be creative. And it's hard. It's a hard hurdle to get over if you're so ingrained in film and you know, shooting Kodachrome 64 or 25 or whatever. So it is a hurdle for someone like myself to allow the ISO to climb and not really panic about it.
So I wanted to ask you something else. It seems to me you're running like 3 lives, right? Or 4. You're doing, you know, you're this artist. You are teaching, because you teach a number of those workshops now and lead the you know, the on-site, the ones to Ireland and France and stuff. And you're doing the arts administration, not to mention you're a single mom. For, you know. So so of those roles, which would you say you could only? Well, all right, leave mom out of it. Of the 3 that
I was going to say I can't choose.
No, you can't choose.
But
can you choose among those 3? What would you pick and why? If you had to.
That's a really good question. You know, probably, you know, in an ideal world, I would just make my own work and shoot, right? If I didn't have to eat. But I think that, but for right now, I think, you know, it's working what I'm doing, and I really enjoy. I mean, I actually enjoy administration and kind of directing the program more than I thought that I would. But I really still love to get to teach, and that's why, you know, I'm doing these field expeditions, and I miss that. You know, I taught in academia for about 10 years before I came to the ranch, so that's I enjoy getting into the classroom. But then I kind of enjoy getting out of it too, and going back to doing more administrative stuff.
That's right. I forgot that you were like a professor of art. Where did you work? Wake Forest and somewhere else too.
I taught at Lake Forest College near Chicago. I taught at Willamette University, and then at Colorado College. Yeah.
Cool. You're lucky. You get to do all this fun stuff.
Yeah, it's so balanced.
Well, I'm so lucky that you put me on this hangout. It's really fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it's something we like to do, to put people on the hot seat, and then they get comfortable, and then that's a great thing.
Yeah, I love it. It's really fun. Thank you.
One of our favorite conversations is about creativity and inspiration, and that's what your ranch promotes. And so we're just really, really glad to have you. I'm glad Jen thought of it, because it's just awesome.
You know, it isn't exactly cheap to come up to the ranch, but there are ways that you can go, even if you don't have a ton of, you know, extra money sitting around. Maybe you could tell people about that, scholarships and assistantships and residencies.
We do have a pretty large scholarship program. In fact, 20% of our students are on scholarship, or some kind of scholarship. We do give some student and teacher discounts. So there are ways to make it work, and certainly, you know, people should contact me to ask about scholarships and discounts for teachers and for students.
Yeah.
So like what Mel does, Mel is teaching art in what, elementary school now?
Well, I travel and teach. I teach all around in the metro area that I live in. I actually, every week I'm usually in a different spots with different age groups and different, you know, socioeconomic class of kids. So, I mean, I'm all over the place. You guys have do you do kid programs?
We do. We do have a children's program. We have an amazing studio coordinator who coordinates our children's program. So we run kids art camps. In fact, my son is in one today. It's called Creepy Crawlies.
Okay.
And but they're all day 9 to 3, and then we have half days as well. And we run it for 4 and 5-year-olds, 6 to 8-year-olds, and 9 to 12-year-olds, and teens. So absolutely. And we do have a fair amount of teachers who will come in the summer and take an adult workshop to learn a new technique or just to actually be able to do something themselves. And so, yeah, you should give me a ring because it'd be great to have you here.
You know, and I think about it too. Do you have it where, parents come and do their thing while kids go off to do their thing, or is it just more?
Yes. Okay. No, that's always an option. The adult workshops generally run 9 to 5, and the kids workshops run 9 to 3. But if an adult is in a workshop, we will provide coverage for the child until 5 o'clock.
Well, that's very cool.
Awesome.
Being a mom, I just always think my daughter is so artsy, and her and we go pretty hand in hand when it comes to art. So I always think about stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's a great opportunity. And then we also have for little kids some parent-child workshops as well.
Oh, those are fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you still have assistantships in the summer?
We do. We have interns that we hire, assistants that we hire to run the summer workshops, and we hired 22 assistants this summer, and there's no way we could run the workshops without them. And I hire 3 every year in photography and digital media. And so the assistants really help run the workshop. They assist the faculty in the workshop. They work with the students. They clean the building. They load software. Everything. And it's a great opportunity for them to network and essentially take 14 or 15 workshops themselves by sitting in and assisting them.
Not to mention, it's such a fun place to be. I love it up there. You go drinking at the Woody Creek Tavern, and you go into Ashland to the art museum.
The other night. Yep.
You were?
Yeah. Yes.
Were you saying something, Isabelle? I think you were really quiet there. Was that you?
I was just saying there must be a long waiting list of people who want the internships, because that sounds amazing that you're able to do all the workshops and spend some time in a beautiful setting like that. You have
it's definitely competitive.
Really?
It's definitely competitive, and we get a lot of applications for we might get maybe 100 applications for the 20 spots or 200. It kind of depends on the year. And they're mostly undergraduate students or graduate students or people who have just recently graduated.
Oh, that's amazing. Or I can intern for you.
Send in your application.
I'm a little older than the other interns, but
Well, no, actually, the age range is with the interns. We have interns who are in their mid-30s or even early 40s, depending on where they are in their life and what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Some have made a career change, like Jan did, and are coming to photography or the arts later. So it's not all young kids who are the interns.
But you can get all that information on the website at andersonranch.org. It's a really good website. I remember when they first started the website. It was one of the early websites.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't so good then as it is now. But all that is on there in their application.
All that is on that. And the applications for internships are generally due in February. Yes.
What about residencies? Are you still doing residencies?
We do have a residency program. We run the workshops from June 4th until the end of September. And then during the off-season or during the fall and the spring, we have an artist in residence program that runs for 10 weeks in the fall and 10 weeks in the spring. And that's an outside jury, so you apply to be an artist in residence, and you come here with a home studio, and we really support you in making your work for 10 weeks. And there are 14 residents who come in the fall and 14 in the spring.
It sounds like
that's an amazing.
Really fantastic place to learn and grow. It really does.
I think it is. I don't know of many places or any place like Anderson Ranch in the world. It's really, really special.
Yeah.
There are some other photo workshop places. I went to one in Santa Fe once, and I know there's one in Maine. The one I went to was wonderful, but it was not like that. It was not about art and all the things we've talked about. It was more about technical, how to set up the camera and the studio lights. And I don't know of any other place that has the art part like you guys do.
Right, cool. That has that balance.
Yeah, yeah. And just remember, too, for people, like I really always thought I'd like to take a workshop in something other than my field, like furniture making or sculpture or something about which I know nothing. They have a great ceramics program, don't they?
I would love something like that, too.
We have an amazing ceramics program. And we also have a new program in January, which is a 3-week immersive interdisciplinary where you get the opportunity to move in and work in printmaking, work in the sculpture studio, work in ceramics, in wood, and get demos in all of the different areas. And that's a 3-week program in January.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wow.
Cool.
I'll book my flight now.
Yeah. I have another idea, Andrea. I think you should do a workshop on for people who want to teach workshops. Like Ron runs workshops with his friend Jim Davis, and there are a number of people involved in Google Plus who are running workshops and photo walks, and a lot of people are just kind of making it up, But it would be interesting, I think, maybe to get all of those people together and talk about,
maybe
learning
like
to
teach the teacher kind of thing.
Teach the teacher, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing on your...
I think our marketing director is pretty excited about Google Plus as well and having us get on here more.
Yeah,
so that was a great thing in of itself.
What was that, Isabelle?
I'm sorry?
Did you say you were...
Oh, I was saying it's one more thing on her to-do list. Like she doesn't have enough already that she's doing. Let's just give her more ideas.
Give her more. Give her more. Well, she has the heart of a teacher, so you can't stop her from doing it. It's just
that's true. That's true.
I know.
Yeah.
That's true.
Cool. Well, I'm kind of thinking I want to go eat dinner.
Yeah, and I have to go now anyway, so I think we're pretty much at the end of our after show now as well. But no, you made to stay it the whole time.
I couldn't leave. I had said I was going to leave about 15 minutes ago, and I just couldn't.
Good.
That's good.
Really, I've loved this conversation. So
that's great. Well, when we have Roddy McInnes coming in a couple of weeks, Andrea, maybe you can, get on the camera with him because he'll probably be up there with you.
I would love to, although he has told me he's going to you to do this.
Ay.
But
then you can join in the room with us.
Yeah, maybe I can. If he does come up here, Jen, I'll definitely, because that would be fun.
All right, cool. Well, nice to see you, Andrea. Maybe I'll come up and visit you soon.
Yeah, I think you should definitely come up. And thank you, and it's so nice to meet both of you. All of you. I met Ron the other day, but both of you.
We're old friends now.
Great to meet you, too.
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. And see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye. It was great to have you all here.
Bye, Ron. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.